Hello, hello. I see one person's on. Oh, it's Mary Sharkey. Hello, hello, my friend. Thanks for joining me. I actually thought about you, Mary, when I was thinking about doing this project, because remember last year, kind of close to this time, you and all your friends got together and we did pots. And so we're doing a different take on it. Always have to keep things going. And it looks like you guys are coming on pretty quick here. So Scruffy, get down. So we're going to get started. So I went ahead. I've been thinking about this project for a couple of weeks. It's inspired by Summer Hammond. I don't know if you guys know who she is, but she's really a very gifted creator. And every now and then I catch one of her videos, and she did a different thing. She did like a sign with this technique, but I've been thinking about it and I thought, oh, there's several things that we could do with that kind of technique. So I went out to the garden this morning and picked out a pot. I actually wanted a taller one, but this is what I had that didn't have a plant in it. Hi, Shannon. And I washed it really well because it had dirt and debris and probably a couple of bugs in it. And then I base coated it with a coat of Dixie Belle cotton. And that's because I'm decoupaging over it. And so then that's what you see here is the base coat. And I only put one coat on, as you can see. And that works perfectly fine. So I've gone ahead and I've decoupaged one side of it. I'll demonstrate how to decoupage the other side of it. And then I'll show you what I did. I took a piece of paper. This is like what we used to do in first grade. I took a piece of paper, I cut it out. I measured my pot. This is 4 inches right here. I think it was 4 inches. Let me get my little floppy ruler here. It was 3 inches. I love these rulers, you guys. I have them like this, and I have them like this. And the really cool thing is because they are flexible, you can bend them around things. That's what I love about these. And if you're a savvy sister, you know all about those rulers. Anyway, it's 3 inches. So I decided I wanted my heart to be 2.5 inches so that there was a little bit of a gap in here. And so I did it on a piece of paper. You know how you fold your, I cut a 2.5 inch square, perfect square, and folded the square in half. And then I took a pencil and drew the heart shape, and then opened up my paper and had my heart. And I wanted it to be stiffer than that piece of paper. So then I traced it onto, this was a label folder. And so now I have a piece of cardboard that I can place my heart on here and draw around it. Hi, Kathy. Thanks for watching. So, and then we're going to, once we get, and I decided when I did this, that since we're doing a pot, I would put that heart on 4 times. So front, back, side, side is what I'm going to do. And then we're going to take Dixie Belle mud in white. And if you have it in the black or if you have it in the brown, that'll work just as well. You just have to paint over it. But this is a great thing to have on hand. It's really good to use if you want to do a raised stencil. This is a great medium to do a raised stenciled with. If you're doing furniture and you have any damage that you need to repair, or if you're changing the hardware and you need to fill those holes, this is really great for that. And today we're going to use it like a sculpting medium to make our hearts on here and make them three-dimensional, right on top of the decoupage. So that's the project. I went to, before I put the camera down, I'm just going to have a cup of tea and chat with you for just a minute. I went to a couple of places because in my head, when I was thinking about this all week long, I had thought that I wanted red geraniums in this pot coming out when this was all done. And so in my head, I thought I was going to paint those hearts red on the sculpting medium and then fill the pot with artificial red geraniums. And so I went to, first I went to Michael's, no red geraniums. They didn't have many red flowers at all. They had shades of pink, but I'm not really a pinkish kind of person. And so I left there and I thought, well, I'll just go to Dollar Tree because there's a couple other things at Dollar Tree that I want. So I went to Dollar Tree. They had a few red flowers, but they were cheap and ugly. And I mean, they didn't even look like they were worth $1 to me. So I didn't get them either. So as I was decoupaging this, I thought, you know, this pot would make a really cute topiary. So I'm going to, sometime next week, I'm going to go to Hobby Lobby and see if I can just buy a small topiary or buy the parts to make a small topiary and just let it be in the green. And I think that would be super cute. So that's, hi Diane. So that's where we're at. Let me have a sip of tea. I don't know about you guys. I know that, you know, being in Arizona, we usually have better weather than the rest of the country, but it's kind of chilly. That's why I have my jacket on today. And I just thought when I'm talking to you guys a lot, I get dry. So another thing I wanted to talk to you about is picking up old books. And this is a, oh, what is her name? Danielle Steele. So I've used a lot of pages out of this book for a variety of projects. When it's a Danielle Steele, you kind of have to look at the pages before you use them because there's some risque stuff in there. So just heads up on what kind of books you pick up. And I tore a bunch of pieces of paper in a variety of sizes and shapes. So they're ready to go. And it's funny because the name of this book, you guys, is The Kiss. So at the top of each page, on one page, it says The Kiss. Hi, Cindy. And on the other page, it says Danielle Steele. So I just thought in strategic places, I would put The Kiss on our decoupage. Just a funny little side note there. So let me put the camera down. Let's see. I've got it on my... oh, I can't think of what they're called. On my turntable. So it might take me a second to get you guys in focus here. Looks like you guys just froze up on my laptop. Okay. So let me move this. I think it needs to go up a little. There, I think that's better. Yeah, that's better. Okay, that's almost perfect, you guys. Let me see what the comments are. Hello, Shannon. Hi, Molly Kelly. Hello, Lisa. Okay, so let's get going, you guys. I have a little bit of Dixie Belle Satin Top Coat. I just poured, I like to pour it in these little containers. Let me see. If I do it over here. Oh my goodness. That way I can put a lid on it and it doesn't go to waste. I used to squirt it off on the styrofoam plates, but this is really much better. And we'll just get going here. So, looking for my brush. I think I'm going to take it off of here. It was great while I was just doing it, but trying to get it on camera that's not going to be great. And you have the option, you guys, when I was putting this on, I've torn these pages, and then I was just randomly putting different sizes, different places. But I noticed that they kind of just ended up lining up, and I think it would be cooler if they were more random. I didn't do that on purpose. I thought I was putting them on random, but it didn't turn out that way. So what I do is, this is backwards for me, but I just put a little bit of the satin top coat on in the area that I'm going to decoupage. And then I have my papers torn up. And since I have a border up here, I just go ahead and place that down. That was a piece that I was lining up with the border. And then I just go over it with the satin top coat. And it does a beautiful job of decoupaging this paper. And like I said, I think, honestly, in retrospect, that it would be maybe more fun if those pages were going all different directions. But since I've already started with it, I'm just going to continue it that way. But just, you know, do what you want to do. So maybe I'll angle it a little bit, but I'm not going to go too crazy. If I do another one of these, I'll be more creative with my paper. Part of that got started was I was taking my edges of my paper and lining them up with the rim of this pot. And you could put a live plant in one of these pots. You would just need to be sure that you had like one of those plastic liner trays in the bottom of it so that the pot itself wasn't getting wet. And you know me, I love to decoupage. So does anybody have any questions so far? Let me take a look. Nope, you guys are just hanging in there. I'm going to put a big piece down here. So you guys see me use satin top coat all the time when I'm decoupaging. And there's a reason for it. It does not, like Mod Podge will break down over time. It will yellow, it will crack, and maybe on something like this you don't care if it yellows or cracks over time, but most things that I'm decoupaging, I do want them to last for ever. You know, you put all this work into it. You want them to last. Now, I see a couple of little like air spots coming up on there. And so I'm just like we always do, I'm going to take my plastic wrap on my finger and I'm just going to smooth it out. So if you have any spots while it's still wet, just smooth them right out. I've gone through a couple of transitions on what I was going to do with this. Like I said, I thought I was going to do red, and I'm not like, normally I rarely use red. I mean, red for Christmas, and I guess I was thinking red because this was going to be Valentine's, but it doesn't have to be. I mean, since I couldn't find red flowers, the geraniums that I had in my head, I could also make sure your letters are all so they're readable. And, you know, I'm doing this upside down, so I'm just making that point. Let's see. I'll go down there. But like your heart doesn't have to be red. It could be any color you want it to be. I am very much a purple person. I love, purple is my favorite color. And purples and greens are my favorite color. And so I thought, oh, well, I could do those hearts in purple. But you know what? The purple paint is at the studio and not here because I'm doing a project there in the most beautiful purple you've ever seen in your life. It's a wise owl color. And in fact, I'm leaving. My daughter gifted me a trip to Boise, Idaho. I'm leaving to go there tomorrow. And when I get back, my next live is going to be on a crazy clock. And I have it base coated already in wise owl colors and a really pretty green and the most beautiful purple. And so when I come back next week, I'm going to be working on that. And I've got some really pretty stencils that I got from Prima that I want to put on it. And it's just one of those pieces. Obviously, it's a grandmother clock. It's huge. It's taller than I am. And it's just a really cool piece. And it's one of those pieces when I tell you to let your furniture talk to you and tell you what to do. This is one of those prime examples. I knew what color basically I wanted, but there's so many, there's shelves inside, you know, there's the face of the clock. There's just so many options and choices. So I thought this is a really good piece to demonstrate on how to let a piece of furniture talk to you and boss you around and tell you what to do. So when I get back from my trip to Boise, that's what next week's piece will be, most likely. That's my plan today, but plans can always change. And I have used these pages for all kinds of things. Like, you know, when you've seen me do printables, sometimes I'll tape these, pull a page out of the book and tape it onto a sheet of paper and run it through the printer and print out one of my printables on it. I love that look. You could do this with a combination. I was thinking of this today too. You could do this with a combination of pages out of a book and sheet music would be really cool. So you could do sheet music on here, or pages out of a book, or you could do all of that. I need another page. And I tore off, you guys, like all of these edges and borders because I don't want all of that blank stuff on there. Let's see. We'll go up here. There's just so much fun stuff that you can do with newspaper. You might have to be careful with newspaper ink because that might run, but if you sprayed a fixative on it, it would probably work. And you guys, I've designed some new decoupage tissue for Valentine's and Easter so far. I've got some more in the work, but the prototypes shipped and are supposed to get delivered tomorrow. Of course, I'll be on an airplane tomorrow, so I won't get to see them until I get back. But I'll be showing you guys that next week. So you guys, what are you working on? What are you working on, and what would you like to see? What kind of projects would you like to see in the future? Let's see, I need a long strip of one. Hi, Joanna. Hi, Debbie. The base coat is Dixie Belle cotton chalk paint. You could use Fluff, you could use cotton, and you guys, in the description at the top of the video, I have all of the things that you need to do this project listed, along with my website and along with if you're here locally, where my studio is, all of that important stuff. So I basically just need to go around this very rim with some strips, and then we'll be ready to go to the next step, which will be putting our heart piece on. Now, again, if you're just tuning in, this is a super easy project, super easy to do. I use the satin top coat for the decoupage medium. It's great to decoupage with, but it will also seal this, and it'll seal the outside, not the inside. And it will, there's a little spot there that needs something. It won't crack, it won't yellow. Okay, there's some areas there. But I think a topiary would be super pretty in this. And then it's not just for Valentine's, that can be all year long. And I have a really pretty buffet. I've had it for a long time. When I got divorced, that was the first piece of furniture I bought on my own, was that buffet. And I got it in an antique store. And I actually found one just like it at the St. Michael's Hotel in downtown Prescott. When I got off the elevator, there was one. Mine was painted white when I got it with really crappy paint. And the one at the St. Michael's had not been painted, and it was the original mahogany, and it was so pretty. But I'm going to repaint mine one of these days. It's on my list. But this would look pretty on that buffet. I don't know how old it is, but it's old. Just like me. Okay, there's one more little spot. I just need just the right piece for it. And I have some of these pages cut with scissors for other projects, but I specifically did not want straight edges on any of this. I wanted all torn edges. I wanted it to be very random. Okay, so there's some bubbly spots right there. And so I'm just going to check over the pot and use my saran wrap or Ziploc bag or whatever you happen to have handy. And the reason is that there is no, that's kind of wet there. There's no friction. And if you use your finger, you're going to get a lot of friction. And I'll let that dry up a little bit. Okay, you remember I had these two little pieces that come from the top, and they both, you know, on the top of every page, it says The Kiss. Do I have it in the camera? Yeah, sort of I do. And so I'm just going to find a place. I think I'll wait because I'm going to place our hearts on here and then I'll go back and put that on. So I'm going to wait with that. Okay, so I'm just going to close up my little container of satin top coat. Get it out of the way. And if you missed it, if you came in late, I measured my pot. It was 3 inches. So I drew a piece of paper I cut a piece of paper and drew, my paper was 2.5 by 2.5 square. And then I drew a heart on here and then opened it up. This is going back to kindergarten and first grade. So now I have a cute little heart, and I traced it out on some cardboard, stiff cardboard. You know what, you guys, when you put the camera backwards, for me, it's backwards. For you guys, it's correct. And you'll notice that everybody that does these lives, they just struggle trying to keep things in camera range. And so I'm going to use a pen. I have a pencil that might work. I'm going to dry it first, you guys, because it's kind of wet. I think it'll work better for us if I get it dry. In the meantime, I'll look and see what questions. Nikki, I'm sorry. Need to move it back here. Hi, Lisa. That's, you know what? I've been divorced for 22, 23 years, something like that. I was separated for 4 years prior to that. So I've been divorced for a long time. And I'll bet you anything that that piece was 50, 70 years old when I got it. And I still just love it. I will always love it. Now that the satin top coat has dried a little more, I can rub down those pieces that they were the last pieces I put on. And like I said, this would be really cool if you had sheet music or even comic books would be kind of cool. And like I said, this was inspired by Summer Hammond. She really does really cool stuff. And she made a sign out of this for Valentine's Day. I thought, well, I could do that same technique on a pot. While I'm doing this, I'm kind of like thinking, let me just dig around in my stash over here and see if I can do this quickly. I do have some handy. I just thought of this, you guys, so I don't know if this is a good idea or a bad idea, so we'll just do a small little area and decide together whether it's a good idea or a bad idea. I've got, since I've put top coat all over the top of this. And it's relatively dry. And I'm going to just try using a little bit of the Van Dyke Brown Glaze, just to kind of darken up the edges a little bit, just to give it that old antique-y look. And I haven't used my glaze in a super long time, so I need to give it a good stir. And I need to get some baby wipes. Let me see where my baby wipes are. And you can see it's not a really dark brown, but I'm thinking that we can wipe it on and wipe it off and it'll stay darker in the edges of the paper and give it a little more dimension. And like I said, it could be a good idea or a bad idea. We'll just see together. Let me get my wet wipes. They're probably all dried out. It's been a while. Just spray some water in there. And I'm making kind of a mess here, you guys. I just want to get my wet wipe wet because it's all dried out. All right, and we'll use a big brush for this. And I'm just going to do it in one little section and see what we all think. I'll do it in a kind of inconspicuous section. So I'm like just painting it on like that. Then I'm going to take my wet wipe and wipe it back. Ooh, I like it, you guys. That looks good. Okay, I'm going to do the whole pot. So this is not on your supply list at the top of this video. And you just want to do it in sections at a time. Don't go paint the whole thing. Just do sections at a time. This is good, you guys. So some areas I'm leaving on a little darker than others. And I'm using a wet wipe. And my wet wipe was completely dried out, but I just reconstituted it with some spray water, and it's working perfectly for this. So you can see the difference here, and here's where it's not been aged. And I love this. I'm so glad I thought of it at the last minute, you guys. What do you guys think? Do you like this look? Okay, and then where I painted this rim up here, I just want to go back around it and leave a little more of this glaze on it. And it's a really good antiquing agent. And this, it goes really nicely with this terracotta. And you guys, you could, there's so many variations to this. You could paint your rims, you know, a pretty color to match your own personal decor. Like I was originally going to put the geraniums in, and I was, oh boy, I love that. Love, love, love. Okay, and I need to seal this back up. So you guys, I'll show you this jar. This is the Dixie Belle Van Dyke Glaze. And it comes in several different colors, but that's the one, honestly, that I use the most, is that one. Okay, so I'm loving how this looks now, you guys. I really am loving that. And I may go back, you guys, and stain the bottom of this, but we'll move on ahead with the project right now. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my paper heart that I cut out of the cardboard, and I'm going to trace it on, and I'm going to turn it around. Let's see, if I turn it that way, can you guys see? Okay, I'm just making sure you guys can see. I'm just going to position it on here, and I'm just going to take my pencil and draw an outline of the heart. And my paper is still a little wet from just putting that stain on, the glaze on. So I'm being careful with my pencil. Okay, so I can see the outline there. Move that out of the way. And what my intentions are, you guys, is, and I don't know if we'll get it all done in today's video, but we'll get this one done so you know what to do. So I've cut out my heart. I've traced it on here. My intention is to do the same thing here, and then here, and then here. That's my intention. Okay. So, but we're going to do this one now. And I just want to make sure you guys are in the camera here. It wants to roll around on me. Okay. And I'm going to use the Dixie Belle mud. This is really great stuff, you guys, and it lasts a long time. And like I said, you can use it to repair your furniture if you change your hardware and you need to close up those holes. This is the product. If you want to do raised stencils, this works great. It comes in white, black, and brown, and you can add color to it if you want to. I don't want to add any color, but I could just add paint to it if I wanted to. And I'm going to just spackle this on here using my palette knife. And I don't want it even, I want it all rough and raised. And I can see my lines. And also, you guys, when you're done using this product, you want to keep it in the refrigerator. Don't leave it out because it will mold if you leave it out. And so I'm just spackling this in here using my spackle knife on the heart that I drew on. I have a really pretty heart stencil on my website too. I just looked to make sure I still had it on there because I did it a year ago. And I thought, oh, I should have remembered that stencil because that would be really pretty on a piece and doing this raised technique on it. And it's a Mylar stencil, so you can use it over and over again. It was only $3. It's not real big. I think it was 4 by 4. But if you guys are in the mood for Valentine's, you might want to take a look. I like the peaks and the valleys on this. And I'm just following the line that I've drawn on here. And I originally, like I said, I originally was going to paint it red. And then I couldn't find red flowers. And then I pulled out a pretty pink to put on it. But I may just not paint it at all today because I really like the glaze that's on the paper, and I might want to rethink how I want to finish this. I think the topiary is a super good idea. I'm just trying to get that point down there, pointy. I'm really excited to get my new tissues. I designed them over the Christmas. I designed them up at my daughter's cabin and sent them off to get printed, and I haven't seen them printed yet, but I'm super excited. And this doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, so let me turn it around, and it does look like a heart, so that's good. Okay, I'm liking that. What do you guys think? And like I said, I want to do it 4 times. So here, and then opposite on the back side, and then on each side. And, you know, in the camera, you guys, I can see up here where there isn't any paper, just the paint. But I think when the pot is down, you don't see that at all. You only see it from the angle I have you guys at. But if that bugs you, then just go add more paper. And then be sure to close your jar up tight. And then, like I said, be sure to refrigerate it, and it will last a super long time. So I'm going to hit the dryer on here just to get a crust on this, because next we're going to use a mold, and we're going to do a mold trim on top of this. And this is going to take a while to dry, but I want to get like a little crust on it so I don't ruin it. And I'm going to take a look at questions. Hey Mary, thanks. Well, hi Sherry. I was thinking about you today. I haven't gotten that paint. I mean, I've gotten it. I received it, but I haven't had a chance to try it. And so funny, Sherry. You'll love this. Farmhouse called me last week, finally, because I kept telling him, send me a sample, send me a sample, send me a sample. And they called me last week to talk to me about carrying their paint. And I told them I had seen a live from you, and I was very interested, and they knew exactly who you were and all about your live, and they said you did such a great job. They were so impressed with you. And so today in the mail, I haven't opened it yet, but I got a sample from them in the mail today also. So you guys, I'm thinking about carrying Farmhouse paint. Farmhouse paint is a line from Magnolia, from Chip and Joanne. It's their line of paint, and you can use it for furniture and crafts and all kinds of really cool things. And I saw Sherry do a demo on it, and I was like, what? That's amazing paint. So I'm looking into it, you guys. So Sherry, thanks so much. So Lisa, you like the idea of the raised design on pots and things? Yeah, you definitely need to refrigerate it. Otherwise, it'll mold and smell swampy on you. Okay, so I'm going to get this book out of the way. And I still have those 2 little The Kiss pieces I want to put on, but I'm going to wait and put them in a really special place. So you guys, I'm going to move the pot out of the view, and I'm going to get the mold we're going to use. And I like to use Creative Paper Clay. I've used this stuff for years. It always works really well. I keep a paper towel in my bag a damp paper towel, and this one has dried up. And so I can tell my clay is still usable, but if I hadn't pulled it out, it would have been probably ruined pretty soon from drying out too much. And then I have a little bag of cornstarch and a brush. And I'm going to use this design. This is, I carry Redesign with Prima products. And they have beautiful molds too, but this one is from, oh, I just went blank. It's from, IOD. And IOD has really gorgeous molds too. And I really like this trim mold. I have a couple different molds with trim, but I really, really like the design. And it's best if you're using paper clay, if you just coat it with some cornstarch. That helps it release. And some people, after they put the clay in, stick it in the freezer for like 15 minutes, and then it releases easily too. But there's been very few pieces I've ever had trouble with getting it to release. So we are not popping this in the freezer today. Okay. And then I just take my clay, and like I said, usually this clay is a little more pliable than it is because I've let it dry too much. But I think it's still workable. And I just kind of like make a log out of it. I'm going to turn that around so it's more in camera for you guys. And I'm going to start pressing this in. And if it was a fresh package, it would really press in easily. But we're going to make this work. And I also use, let's see if I have them handy here. You know, your hotel room keys or gift cards or whatever, I use these to really press that into your mold. And like I said, this is paper clay. And I do sell it on my website. You can order it on Amazon. It's in my favorites. You can get it at Michael's, and sometimes I can get it at Hobby Lobbies. I can get it at Michael's pretty routinely. And I should have gone ahead and picked up a fresh bag of it when I was at Michael's today, but I thought, no, I think I have a couple of bags. But I think it's still going to work. I know it's releasing really well. So you guys, I'm getting on an airplane tomorrow and flying to Boise into cold weather. My daughter asked me if I had snow pants, and I'm like, seriously? I live in Arizona. Why would I have snow pants? And that we're going, I don't know, we're going tubing or we're doing something that, so she's trying to find somebody that's got snow pants for me. Okay, and I'm just working this clay into the mold because I really want the design to be sharp. And I'm using this card to remove the excess. And I'll stick it back in here. And when I put this clay away today, I will wet my paper towel, but I will also give it a squirt from my mister bottle to help moisten it up. And I think it will take 2 of these to go around the rim. And with these molds, you can also use the amazing resin. And I've used the quick set, and I've also used the one that takes 20 hours to set up. And I love using the resins, and I have a whole tray down here I'll show you before we go, because I will do like multiple molds all at one time when I mix up the resin. And then I have pieces on hand. Okay, so let's see if I did a good enough job. Since that is drier, yeah, it came out good. Okay, cool. So I'm going to have to make another one, but I'm just going to show you, especially with the IOD. You can see it's rounded, pointed here, and down here, let me make sure you're in the camera. Down here, it's concave, and they did that on purpose, so when I go to make my next one, that pointed part will fit in here exactly. So you'll see what I'm talking about here in a minute. So let me get my pot down here. I'm really, really loving this pot, you guys. Okay, so I'm going to use wood glue to glue this on around the rim of this. And it fits perfect. Isn't that cool? So I'm going to let it just sit here like that. While I do the second piece. It may even take a third piece, you guys. I'm just going to give this another light dusting. It's probably okay without it, but why aggravate myself? Do you guys have questions? Joanna, I'm so glad you love it. No, I haven't used FormFlex. I know a lot of the sisters use the FormFlex, but I've used this for years and years, and I just don't see any reason to switch because it always works really well for me. Turn this around so you guys are in camera. But literally, you guys, I went out in my backyard this morning. I knew what I was going to do. I've known all week long what I was going to do today, but I went out this morning because I've had a really busy week. I used to do accounting for a living. I had my own accounting business for 20 years. And I had a client that used to be a client of mine reach out to me, and he's like way behind on his taxes and wanted to know if I would get him all caught up. And he's like 3 years behind. So this last week, I have spent the week working on his accounting, and I got 2020 done. But, you know, every month has like 500-600 transactions that have to be entered manually. And so that's what I've been doing all week long. I'm really glad I don't do that for a living anymore. I say this all the time, you guys. I wake up in the morning and ask myself, what am I going to create today? And I just feel like I am so blessed that this is what I get to do. Every day I get to think of something new to do. And after years and years of doing accounting, I really am grateful. But I was really grateful that this client called me up and asked me if I would be willing to do it, because this last year, I know it's been hard for a lot of people, but it's been really hard for me. Businesses struggled all year this last year, so I'm really hoping, I don't know why, but I'm really hoping that this year is going to be a better year than last year was. I won't get political on you guys, but oh man, it's got to be a better year than last year was. Okay, so I'm going to take my card and just cut off that excess. So when you're talking about hotel room keys and stuff, they always ask you to turn them back in, and I never, ever, ever do, because all your credit card information is on those keys. So how do we know what they're doing with those keys? How are they keeping them safe and secure with your credit card information on them? I just think that's the dumbest thing ever. So I never turn them in, and they're really great for arts and crafts. So I just have some kind of raggedy edges there, and I just want to get them filled in so that this is super pretty. Okay, I'm going to flip it out. Voila! Like I said, I think it's going to take another piece. So I'm going to glue on the first piece. Let me grab my glue. And I need one of those little cups, I think. These little cups, you guys, are just great for crafting. I'm just going to pour a little bit of the glue in here. And this is Tight Bond wood glue. And I just use this stuff for everything. Everything. Okay, so I'm going to move this one out of the way, and I'm going to glue down the first one. And I'm working backwards here, so hopefully this is on here straight. I'm going to stand up and take a look. So I want that edge down here on the edge of the pot. So there's a little bit of an edge up here showing. Let me turn that around and look. You know what? I changed my mind. I want this edge here even with this edge up here, because when this pot is turned down, you aren't going to see that there's a little bit of an edge there. And you know what? Once again, if that bugs you, then put your paper up there. I don't want anybody to be bugged. Okay, so then I'm going to take a little bit of the glue on my finger. In fact, I'm going to just lift that up for a minute and just put my glue all the way around. And I want to get it up on that rim because I'm going to bring that piece up on that rim. And let's see if I got enough glue on there. And I want it up on the rim. Okay, so, and just a side note on this, you guys, that same glaze that we put on the paper, I'm going to put that, I'm going to paint this, and then I'm going to put that glaze in there, because it'll make all of that detail on there just really pop. Okay, so I'm going to let that one sit. And then I'm going to continue gluing. I need to lift this up a little bit. Just so I can get under there. Oops. And I want to be careful, you guys, because in a perfect world, this would be dry. I don't want to be rolling this around on top of the stencil. So if I wasn't doing a live demo, I would do steps and walk away. Let's see, I need a little more glue. Okay, we'll see if that's far enough. So, this is getting tricky, you guys. Oh, shoot. I just broke it in half. So where that indentation was, I can just slide that piece right in there. And I'm going to put that down and find my piece that I broke off. And just add it in there. I got that glued just right. So I'm going to take my handy dandy bendable ruler and measure how much more I need. So I need about 4 inches more. And it needs to be going to be tricky, you guys, because I need this end and I need this end. So I don't know. I'm going to do, I said 4 inches. One, yep, a little more than 4. So I think I'll do 2 inches here and 2 inches here and see what happens. I've never done this where I've had to split it like that. So I'm glad I get to do it live with you guys. You can learn from my mistakes or if I get it right. Or I know, I can just put the whole thing down. That's what I'll do, is I'll do the whole thing and just cut off where I need to meet it. Put it down here so I can be sure you guys are getting all of this. I know we're going a little long, but we're almost done, you guys. It'll be worth the wait. So do you guys get what I'm going to do? Because I need to put this end over here and this end over there. So by making the whole piece, I can just butt them up together and cut it. And then just put that clay back in my bag. That's my plan. We'll see what happens. Thanks, Joanna. Thanks, Sherry. Thanks, Lisa. Boy, I'll take all the blessings. You can never have too many blessings. You guys are funny. So Sherry, put your link in here and let these gals know what days you go live, because Sherry does lives also. Okay. So I'm going to put my glue on, and then I'm going to take it out of the mold. And I don't want to be smashing everything. This is honestly turning out prettier than I even envisioned. It really, for me, came alive when I put that glaze on. That's what took it to the next level for me. Okay. I haven't packed my suitcase or anything yet, you guys. I still have to do a load of laundry and pack my suitcase. Okay, so I know that this is longer than what I need. So my thought is I'm going to cut it in the middle. Like that. And put this end first. So let me get you guys back in camera. So I'm going to put that end first. Let's see, I think I'll cut it right there. And I can't put that back in my bag because it's got glue on it. And I'm going to cut it right there. I can put that one back in my bag. That worked out pretty good. I mean, it's not perfect, but I think if you don't point it out to somebody, okay, I'm not mad about that. I'm gonna, that's got glue on it, that doesn't, so I'm gonna put all of that back in my bag. Throw the glue part away. Okay, so I'm going to let this, because that glue is sliding around on here. So I'm going to let this piece dry upside down like this. I've got glue on the paper towel I want to get rid of. So I'm just going to let it sit like this so that if it slides or moves, it goes towards the top. And I'm going to let it dry naturally. You can speed up the drying on the clay by using your dryer on it, and I've done it many, many times in a class, especially if we want to get it painted in the class. You can dry it enough to get a crust on it. But we're going to stop here. To finish this, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and put the hearts on all 4 sides. And when this is dry, I'm going to come back and put the glaze, which was the Dixie Belle glaze in the Van Dyke brown. I'll put a coat of, I don't know what color yet, you guys. I'm still, you know, I've been all over the place on what color I was doing this whole project in. I got a little glue right there. I'm kind of liking right now, I'm kind of liking this color on here, and I could paint this rim like buttercream. I'm just talking out loud. I could paint the rim buttercream and then use the Dick Van Dyke. It's not Dick Van Dyke, it's just Van Dyke brown. So that all of the crevices on here are enhanced. And then I would probably use either the Posh Chalk or the Gilding wax to go over the highlights of all of this detail on the rim. And depending on what I do there, then I'll figure out what color I want these hearts. I might want to do the hearts in the buttercream too, and just keep the whole thing very monotone. I don't know, so I'll work on it. I'll be gone for 5 days. I may just continue this project next week. I had no idea it would take this long to get done, and I won't have time during the week to finish it because I'll be gone. So I may just come back and finish it together with you guys next week. What do you think about that? Hello, my friend Wendy. Yeah, that glaze is beautiful, isn't it? Lisa, you're perfectly unique. Yeah, me too. And I like being unique. Let's see. Molly, you want to finish it together next week? I would love to do that. Because I think this honestly has turned out prettier than it even did in my head, to be quite honest. I'm really, really liking it. So, hello, Melissa. I was just thinking about you and thinking I need to call you, Melissa, and make sure you're okay. I haven't heard from you in a little while. So I'm looking forward to it. I haven't seen my daughter and grandkids in 5 years. So I'm looking forward to it. So you guys, thanks so much for hanging in there. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you guys showing up every week. Let me put the camera up. I'm just talking to my laptop. Hello. Hello. So, we'll finish this pretty pot next week. And just between now and next week, just think about all the fun variations you could do with this design. I think I'm going to have to paint the top rim of this too, because it's kind of slid down a little bit while we were working on it. I don't know. We'll find out next week what we're going to do. But I'm super happy with it. Yeah, there I am. Whoop. All right, you guys, thanks a bunch, and I'll see you next week, and we'll finish it up next week. Bye. Have a great week, and thanks so much.